Okay, here we go. It's the boy, Kamal Hart, and I'm on the chart going bar by bar. Off the bat, I'm seeing nasty congestion. I'm seeing ranginess. So I have a line up there. Probably gonna have a line here. I like down here too. Probably one of these two. Um, I actually got to the chart pretty early, probably around like 5:20. So I was watching this pullback. Since we're in the middle, nothing I can really buy yet. Nothing that I should be buying yet, let me say. I took the failed second entry long trade. I think the midline's in there. So I took the failed second entry long trade so when this broke above right there, and it was kind of like a second entry long to the high, but signal bar is not that good. We're in the middle of the range. At least, yeah, we're on the inside of the lower side going long, but shouldn't be going long in the middle like this, especially on a setup that was nasty. So part of what happened is that when I entered, and I think my entry is actually up here. So when I entered and prices kind of closed back inside, like here was the trigger. So when that trigger bar closed back inside, I should have known not to enter. But my price action looked a little different, but it was the same gist. So once I saw it fall back inside, I was like, okay, this probably isn't going to be a good trade. So I tightened my stop to one tick below there. And pretty much on the next bar, I was out. Not too many things I could have done other than move my take profit to the open or something, and I still would have lost like a tick. But that's really not that bad in retrospect to what you end up losing. So that's how I started my day, and I've been on a pretty good win streak. So not that bad of a loss, but it was like kind of a stupid loss. And then, to be honest, the whole I haven't lost much played an effect in this next trade. Because when I saw this big wick, I was like, okay, so people are still buying it. And then, mind you, at the time, I'm also seeing something like this potentially. So I'm seeing that, and I'm thinking, okay, we're bouncing off this trend line, and there's a range. I'm expecting prices to at least come and test the high of the range. So let me get back in long. So I got back in long on that bar. Man, not really that good of a bar to get in. An impulse trade, to be honest. I can't even really, defend going long there too much. So that's a mistake. That's the real mistake. I can live with the first one a little bit. The second one is like, and ironically, it's not ironic, but the problem is that the second one is you're in a loss, so you're taking an impulse trade while you're red for the day. Getting risky boy. So my stop ended up going down here. It was literally the low, so that was my stop. And then I just wrote it out. I'm waiting to see if this trend line breaks. If this trend line genuinely breaks, then maybe I'm going to feel different. But it kind of pushes out there, but it comes back inside, and you can see it's going completely sideways. And let's do the arbitrary do not disturb. It's going sideways for sure. So that's the first entry to the highs. And then see this little second entry. This is the trade I should have waited for and taken. See how everything's still inside my trend line? Yeah, you're at the middle of your range, so that's probably, if you're going to skip it, that's why. but we're waiting for a breakout either way. And sometimes you just have that gut feeling. So I just held. It never really came down to my stop, so it ended up working out. But this trade right here is a second entry to this high. Failed second, and not really a failed, but just like a high to low. Um, Pretty decent trade. So I get out on my scalps. Those go pretty good. And then I'm looking for a swing, which is a touch of my trend channel line or a couple ticks before the high. Those are my two targets. I think I did a decent job here. I exited just before the channel line. The main reason for exiting here is that when I saw that pause bar, exiting a tick below here, I'm losing for the day, and exiting on the high, I'm at least going to be profitable, kind of like a scratch day. So I was tempted to exit so I don't have to maybe take another position or deal with more. And the issue with that is that really I should be swinging this. So my stop is still like down here. And if nothing breaks below, I should keep holding on to this trade until something breaks below, we get a reversal pattern, we touch a target, blah, blah, blah. Because my target was like, it was the trend line. So I wanted it to touch the trend line. And I exited right there, and then over the next few bars, I get the touch. So I didn't really manage that setup the way I should have. It's okay, but I could have managed that a lot better and actually been hit at least half my profit target or something for the day. So I was done for the day after that. I went to the gym, but lots of other stuff went down too. So as we get this breakout, I didn't really mention it in the beginning, but let me look at this area and see if we get like a measured. See how that's pretty close to the highs. So if you measure that range, it should be somewhere up here. So I want to see what prices does when it gets to that line. Kind of get a swing. Starting to go a little sideways. That's the second entry long to the highs. Signal bar isn't that great. Kind of breaks just above the reversal to these lows. I don't really see anything there that I'm too hype about. First entry, let's pull back. And the way now, sometimes I let my trend lines go, but I had a much better line earlier in the day. But maybe if you move this up a little higher, you're not really getting a break. I wouldn't say yet. Maybe you have a midline somewhere in there. Okay, so you got a little lip, pullback. This is an okay trade, higher low, second entry to the highs, good signal bar. Thing is, you can't exit before the highs, so that's going to be aggressive to me. It's going to be really aggressive going long there. I skipped it, but I see an entry there in the sort of upward move. You might get another leg up. Takes a little bit, but it gets up there. But really what we're looking for is here, and I think this is another aggressive trade. But if you're seeing it, you might risk it. And that one ends up paying off quite a bit. Okay, so let me explain why this trade is going down. So we just said that prices were going sideways. We can say that that's the congestion area. and these are the lows of that. So we get a nice red signal bar at the highs. It's a double top. There's room to exit before the lows, and there's almost room to exit before the EMA. A little aggressive, but given the context of this range that we're getting, I would definitely be interested in going short right there. That one does pretty good. Pullback, you know, once again, you're buying selling the breakout. I'm not gonna do that. Here's another one that I liked. This is like a double top, so it moved lower once. It kind of gets lost in translation. So a very simple way is that high failed second entry long right there, and it's a second entry short right there, first entry, and then the second entry. And then it works out because you're trying to trade it back into these closes and stuff. So that was a trade that looked pretty good on my chart. That, you know, we do have this uptrend, so that's why I was really skeptical actually going short. But this congestion is playing out pretty textbook-like. So I'm not going to just ignore nice-looking setups if I have the evidence for them. But at this point, it still is a little sketchy going short, unless we're going to say that we're in a range and that, like, we had our lows down here from earlier. Possibly there's a midline somewhere in there. So if that ends up being our midline, if you're seeing it like that, then yeah. But I was still kind of seeing this like an uptrend with some sort of consolidation moving over to the side and possibly some more legs up. But I think it is crucial that, looking back on it, when you measured that first range we had, and then you measure an equal distance, prices turned right off of it. So that's a sign that the range is definitely in play. That one gives you a good move. That was a really good move. First entry to the low, it's not that great. Here's a second entry to the low. At this point, I'm more comfortable with the shorts. This is kind of like, see this? It's a breakout pullback of the range. It's turned down almost 3 times now, this being the third. I think how I approach these are going to be, I get the 3 turn downs. I'm going to use the second 2. I'm going to chart the second 2. I think that might give you the most accurate line. So right there, that's your second entry. You're going short, room to that trend line in case it bounces. Not too much to say with that one. Pretty good trade. So right there, you kind of get that false bounce. We're not really trying to go short there or long sideways. So let's just wait. That pushes down and get this pullback. First entry to the lows off this high. That's a failed second entry off this high. It's off the trend line, not quite the EMA yet. Probably aggressive. I would say that's going to be aggressive to go short there. But it's a failed second entry. First entry fails, second entry, and this one actually, you know, like the those long trades fail. That's a little thing. It's like a really nice bull signal, but it doesn't go far, and it sets up the reversal. All these guys, they're getting ready to exit right there. And it doesn't tick lower yet, so we're just waiting. And then right there, it ticked lower. So basically, your trade would have triggered there. That's a second entry short. Man, I really don't like that if you're already in right there. I'm not into adding on one tick from the lows, even though I'm pretty sure it's an okay trade because of the momentum we're getting. Just a little too aggressive for me. But if you're in here, I'm still holding for sure. Yeah, it doesn't go really that far. Kind of like a triple top first entry. There's a failed second entry there, but I don't really use triple tops. I like to see like matching tops or something. So that one doesn't go anywhere. That's the second entry short, but once again, it's kind of the same as this trade. Not really where I want to go short. And the trigger bar breaks the signal bar, and the signal bar isn't that good. Nah. So right there, that's the double top that I need to pay attention to. There's a double top right there. So this becomes the lower high. Not that great for a lower high, even though it's off the trend line. I mean, you could be aggressive and probably take it because it's pretty strong, but not really where I'm looking for it. Right there, though, so you got to take it a little slower. When a bar breaks below there, that's going to be the second entry. And off this double top, first entry, a break below is the second entry. So right when this red bar broke below, I got a limit or a stop waiting right there. Just to talk targets, probably my first target is something like that. And maybe a measured move. Let's see. This is leg 1. So we get that kind of congestion in the middle. And this is leg 2. So you still probably have targets down there. 31, 40, 50, somewhere 31, 40 area. So there. Look at that. That's nice. You like to see that kind of a perfect bounce off this line from back there. It's a good look. We're not really getting any touches off the low side, so you know, let's squeeze this in a little bit. That for sure is going to be a little better to use. And then here's just an inside bar. Don't really see a good reason to enter that trade, even though it does work. I think here's an interesting trade that I saw. Don't think I would go short here, but when I'm reading this price action, this is a second entry short, because if I look, that's the first entry, and even though we made a lip right there, it never breaks higher, so really that's kind of like one leg down. Nothing breaks higher until it breaks higher over here, and now it's turning down. So that's probably more so where you could take a short. I'm going to say that's aggressive. I'm probably going to skip it, but yeah, that's a weird setup. That one goes. That one does work. If you would have gotten in, that would have been so easy to hold. Nothing breaks above. Nothing breaks above until here. So depending on your exit, because we don't even get a touch, that's not good. Let's make sure that this is parallel. Yeah, it's looking like it's not. Sometimes NinjaTrader 8, I guess there's like some sort of bug, and your trend lines won't be parallel sometimes. That's why I use the double trend lines. Yeah, like that. That looks a little better. A little tighter. Yeah, that's a lot better. So yeah, if your target was the trend line, You get the touch. That is that's a note. Just make sure your trend lines are straight, because that's the difference between hitting a target or not, especially if it reverses. So then we're going to look for a reversal signal. If you would have exited on the first break, you're out. If you're using the swing strategy, now your stop is going to be right there at 31, 39.25. And then maybe you exited because of a touch. Got a double top. So when you start seeing this double top, rangy stuff, I'm probably going to move my take profit to these opens and closes. And it doesn't come back down for it, so you probably get stopped out right there. That's probably how I would handle that. It's a higher low. It's a break. There's been a break outside and move to a new low. So this is not a trade I'm going to take, but I'm going to respect the price action. We could be getting a reversal. That's an okay line, but you should be able to get the point. And then right there, that's the failed second entry. So I want to go long there as well. Just a reversal, pretty straightforward reversal pattern. This one was interesting. It did a lot of dancing, but it still closed above our trigger. So I liked staying in, especially when it started doing all this. I just really looked at this first bar and said, hey, it closed above, so let's just wait it out. Pulled back. It's an engulfing bar. No add-ons. It's not something. Then you kind of get a scalp out of that. It's a higher low right there. I don't like it. You already have the breakout and move to a new high. There's nothing special about that. Here's a trade I saw. It just depends on how you saw this market. I think at the time, sometimes I think being consistent is going to be the most important thing when you trade, because when I traded it this morning, I had a trend line more like that. So if you look at this trend line, we didn't quite touch it too much. We got a couple touches, not gonna lie. But this is the first breakout. Show it like that. That's the first breakout right there. So to me, when I was trading it, that looked like a in the way I had it here, when I started getting those breakouts, I just moved it. See how, yeah, it's not parallel. That's grimy. But I had it something like there. So basically I just made it equidistance, and then you get a bounce, which I kind of like the way that looks, to be honest. The guy who I follow, the guy who taught me how to trade, he had his lines a little different. And when I watched his video, I was like, oh, that's a better line, because it helps you get in these trades. But for my style, at least, I don't know. That's just how I see it. So this is your first breakout. So that's the lower high. It's going sideways, so it's a little aggressive, not gonna lie. But when I saw it, I was like, hey, there's an entry. Especially on this uptrend. You have the uptrend, kind of 2 legs back, new high, it's reversing. And that thing's another one. That one works. Then here, it's already like 12:42, so, and this is 12:30, so it's a little late. This is probably your last trade, but I was just hanging around and I saw it. But that's pretty much what I saw for the day. It was a range day in a way, and we spent a lot of time going down. I was honestly done before any of it, though. I was done just off this move up here. So that's what I saw. I don't know. It was busy, but not busy at the same time today, so it was kind of weird. Got a lot of lessons. But yeah, for this week, I need to focus on holding on to these swings. Keep letting my my runners run, And then I need to work on when I do take that L. Just wait. Wait for a good setup. I don't have to rush. I don't have to rush it at all. So that's what I saw today. I'm going to go ahead and get out of here, but I will be back tomorrow. See y'all.